Hello, my name is Wolfgang Carstens, and welcome to Poets Underground, a poetry show that celebrates and showcases the best and the brightest authors currently working the marrow of contemporary poetry. My guest tonight, joining us live from Missouri, is Mr. Victor Clevenger. Mr. Clevenger's recent books include In All These Naked Pictures of Us, Come Here, and The More Exciting Side of Death. Victor, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Poets Underground.
Hey, how's it going?
Not too bad,
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? I've been waiting to have you on the show for a long time, so it's a pleasure, man. And must I say, you rock that hat well, my friend.
As do you. Yeah.
Right on. You know what? I want to jump right in here. In a recent interview, you mentioned that you want to quit writing. So I wanted to ask you, why do you write? Why do you want to quit? And what keeps pulling you back?
Yeah. It seems like a curse at times, for real. And I know you got a house full of children also, so doing the family thing, doing the writing thing, it's always that something just screams, just needs to come out. And it seems like it takes up so much time, trying to do the 9 to 5 at the odd hours and write and take care of the family. Like I said, sometimes it seems like a curse, but it's the days that I say, it's it. I'm gonna find something else. I'm gonna focus on something else, that something beautiful just fucking rages out, and it comes out, and it just happens. It just happens. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing I would say. Why do I write? Because I haven't found the ability to quit, and I may never find that ability. May never. There's always something that needs to be said, so.
Right. It's interesting, too, because I know that you have lots of kids. You're a war veteran. I believe you work as a prison guard?
Yeah, I work in corrections, yeah.
So that's your madhouse. One thing that really intrigues me about your work is that there seems to be this underlying tension where everything's going to come apart at the seams at any given moment, including you. And I absolutely love that. It really speaks to my live today, tomorrow never comes mandate. And I wanted to ask you, is there an underlying philosophy that fuels your work?
It's just put it on paper, man. What I live throughout the day, what I've lived throughout these 37 years, just put it on paper, because like I said, tomorrow may never come. A lot of stuff I write about, whether it be gritty, whether it be with the women in my past, whether it be something to do with children, whether it be dealing with suicide, dealing with war. It's just put it on paper, man.
Right. So when you mention that you want to quit because it takes us so much time, do you feel that you're neglecting other areas of your life that are important to do this?
Sometimes, but it all intertwines, I guess. There's times when my oldest daughter in school activities, and I'm committed to a reading, and that's all in my name, and she understands that. I'm committed to something. They take it in stride. They're super supportive of what I do. But there is the times when I feel like, maybe I'm giving up something for this. But then my family, they're super supportive, so they say go do it. So
right,
here we are.
Well, that's awesome. So tell me, are you the sit at the computer kind of writer, or is everything in your head before it hits the page? Like, do you have a specific time that you write? Do you sit down to write, or do you it's just something that your mind's churning out?
Yeah, the mind's just churning. I mean, the hours I work, I get off at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I got an hour commute to work and from work. And that's where the majority of it's done, is in that drive. I'm driving, it's quiet, it's just me, it's the road. I'm burning down the highway, and everything's clicking. So when I do sit down at a computer, a lot of it's already written. I do keep a notebook. I keep a notebook in my pocket, at work. I keep a notebook beside the nightstand in the bedroom. My phone right on my hand. however it comes, however it gets out. But the majority of the time when I sit down at the computer, it's already done.
Nice. So tell me, when you first started writing, and looking back then and looking back to now, do you have a specific goal? Like, do you have a literary goal? Is there something specific you're trying to accomplish in your work?
Like I said, just get it out. Just get it out. I don't know if there's, like I said, as far as the underline or a specific, because I mean, I'll write the poetry aspect, give it a real, but I also enjoy diving into the short stories, to just let my mind go, so it's all genres. I mean, I don't know that there's a specific underlying other than just getting everything out.
Right. So is it therapeutic? Is it something that's burning inside you? Like what is it?
It is. When I say the curse, as far as it monopolizes the time, I miss out on this, I miss out, but my mind's constantly going. Yeah, it's got to get out. Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this: when a Victor Clevenger poem is firing on all cylinders, what are the essential elements that are coming into play?
It's going to be the roughness, but it's going to be life. It's going to be the small things that may be common to everyone, but just not always said. The relationship aspect, the not always good. That there's some bad, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's normal. Everyone experiences it. But taking those bad things and not just bottling them up inside and just spitting them out on the paper. That's
right. Well, I know one thing reading your book, Come Here, which is seriously my new favorite bullet. I read it again yesterday, and it's a very unique work. It's like little snippets that you wouldn't think would be poetry, but actually work extremely well in the way that you've done that. And how did that book come together?
That was kind of the mastermind behind that was Bree, down there at Least Bitter Books. Her and I had been talking. I had sent her some work, and she just wanted the snippets, the small portions of that spoke to her. And it did come together. It came together great. She did the little snippets with little photos, and she really kind of encapsulated what I was going for. Kind of the gritty, but kind of the soft also, the excerpts that are in there.
Right. Well, I could definitely see that as notes left on the refrigerator, notes in your notebook, like you say, scribbling it down on your hand. Kind of like the words of someone who just needs to get it out in any way possible. So congrats for that, man. That's actually it's a brilliant book. It is my new favorite
Thanks.
bullet. Like I love it, man. I wanted to ask you, absolutely. As far as themes go in your work, what are the major themes? Like what are the themes that you gravitate towards and that really speak to you?
Like I would say the relationship aspect of it would be the themes and the narrative. And a lot of people ask me, is this shit that you're writing real? Yeah, it is real. Yeah, I mean it is. And those that truly know me know. Like in my bio says, I sleep with my second ex-wife and raise my children, and that's true. That's true. I've been married twice. I've been divorced twice, but it just works better. And there's a reason. There's a reason why. A lot of it was self-inflicted, but it's come together, for the better of the kid. She's a trooper. I mean, my second, Chrissy is a trooper. So she's overlooked a lot of the things, and that's allowed us to kind of come together. But it's the realness and the life of everything just meshing together.
Right. So let me ask you this. Somebody approaching your works for the first time, what do you hope readers take away from your books?
That's a good question. Just that, more or less just do it. A lot of this stuff isn't going to appeal to everybody, but a lot of the shit's real. I mean, it's written. It's gonna appeal to someone. So you may not like a piece, but there may be a piece that you do. Like the little snippets that talk about come here. That's the little notes. That's the little snippets that's left. But that's some great stuff. Some of the longer stuff, I enjoy it. It's a lot of other people enjoy it, but I just want people to understand you're not gonna like everything. You're not. So find something that you do like. I mean,
right.
And it's out there. It's out there.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's a great answer. I know you're heavily involved in the reading scene, which I love. How important do you think it is for poets to perform their work live in front of an audience? And also, what's the best piece of advice you ever got as far as a live reading goes?
Just be yourself. I mean, that's the biggest. Just be yourself. Show up, read the material. I mean, it's not always going to be fucking great. It's not always. You're not always going to enjoy it. Same thing as reading. I mean, just sit and listen to someone read. It's not always going to be great. And people may not always think my work's great, but you show up. It's the meeting people is what it is. It's the getting out. It's the building the connections. And I truly believe that is the biggest right there as far as bringing everybody together. Is the meeting, is the greeting, is the just showing up,
Right. I gotta say, man, I love your honesty. It's very refreshing. I love it. Okay, I asked this of all my guests, and I'm very curious to know what you have to say. Do you think there's a role? Does the poet have a role in society? And if he does have a role, does he have a responsibility?
I would say the responsibility is just to get the word out. I mean, we write the words. I'm not here to try and force feed or test your gag reflex, by shoving stuff down your throat. That's not me. As far as the poet, we're not going to individually change the world. I don't believe that. But we're going to put stuff out that's going to speak individually. Earlier we was talking about Matchbook, and the war. That's when I read that, it grabbed me. I've been there. I've seen that. I wasn't there as long as Matt was, but I was there. I mean, and that resonated with me. It did. It grabbed me. So kudos to him. That's a great book. And,
right.
And he's doing his thing.
Right. Yeah, actually, I mentioned to Matt that I've searched through volumes and volumes and volumes of war poetry looking for a book just like the kind of books he's writing, because it enables me to experience it. You experience it, he experienced it, but for someone like me who's never been on the front line, never been in a war zone, it was something that enabled me to experience it the way that I needed to experience it in order to fully appreciate, the experience. So yeah, I agree, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, I asked this for my guests too. Is there a quintessential Victor Clevenger poem? Something that really epitomizes what you're trying to achieve, something that just brings it all together? And if so, would you please read it for us?
Yeah, I have one. It's titled Exposed. For me, it's one of the first pieces that was really published, that was put out there. St. John's, Kansas, there's a little review out there, the Chiron Review, which publishes phenomenal poets. And this was my first piece that was published in there, and it kind of ties together the gritty, the whole family, the whole, supportive aspect of it. So it's titled Exposed. 3:19 in the morning, and nobody sleeps. She is bleeding from between her legs, and I am bleeding from behind my eyes. We are okay. It's normal happenings. It's clotting and cramping and predictable. She is a woman with the entire ensemble of woman parts and has a few nights like this around the first of the month. I am a man who is trying to survive in this world with only his words. We both sit and experience small pieces of our insides dying in cycles and passing. She shoves and presses cotton. I type my thoughts on a machine that is missing the T button. But I just press really hard where it used to sit, and it works from time to time. When it doesn't work, I shout. She wears heavy lace panties to hold the cotton in place. When the cotton gets full and fails, when her lace soils and stains, she shouts too. There are times that we shout together. But when we don't shout, and when she is not shoving and pressing, and when I am not pressing either, we sit beside each other and listen to the sounds in the darkness of this apartment. Ceiling fans humming, heavy refrigerator motors buzzing, aquarium bubbles popping, soft thumping steps in the stairwell, air conditioners blowing, and the neighbors' moans. Some moans pique interest. Some moans sound like murder. They are all amused when I sit down to type. And yes, there is a possibility that she may not be amused when she reads this and sees that I have exposed pieces of her. But I guess that is the result of choosing to die in cycles with me, bloody night after bloody night.
Love it. Awesome. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, here on Poets Underground, we love poetry. In fact, we love a lot of poetry. So, Mr. Clevenger, I'm going to give it to you, my friend. 15 minutes. Go ahead, lay down some literary dynamite. The stage is yours, my friend.
Thanks, Wolf. I'm going to start the first three pieces. They're short pieces. They're untitled pieces. But they're all things that I've learned. You talked about the book Come Here. This first piece is from it. Before alcoholism, my toughest addiction was my love for the manic inside of a depressive woman. Sometimes a fat lip is the prize that tomorrow will bring. When you raise children, you learn that the couch is a hungry monster that swallows everything. This next piece is a little longer. It's titled, The Day Before My 36th Birthday. And between bites of a chicken and cheese quesadilla with black olives and pickled peppers, my 4-year-old daughter says asshole. I keep chewing and ignore her. Asshole, she says, tugging my arm, and I nod my head. She gives one last hard tug at the shoulder and pulls my head down closer to hers. My ear is at her lips. Poopy asshole, she says, and I swallow. I pat her on the head with my hand and send her to fetch her mother. She leaves the room. She returns with a warm dish towel just recently removed from the clothes dryer. I shove the last bite of quesadilla shell through my lips. Chew it, swallow it, and wait. Asshole. Poopy asshole. I watch her swing the white but stained from spilled grape juice towel from side to side like a marching band's flag, and it twirls fast. It twirls, then falls limp. Asshole, she says again. And this time, I smack the wooden tabletop with both of my hands, just like I remember seeing my own father do so many times before. My hands make a thud and I shout, enough! She shouts something mumbled and runs from the room crying. The dish towel lies alone on the floor as her mother walks into the room and says, do you always have to be such a goddamn asshole? Standing behind her is my daughter, who wipes her eyes and grins while she peeks her head around her mother's right hip. I smack the table again for good measure and pick up my milk glass. I drink it and set it down. The milk runs slowly down the sides from the brim. My daughter laughs victorious, prances down the hallway, and I walk to the stove for a second helping of dinner.
Wow. Love it.
Thanks, Mom. The next piece is titled The Road to Hell. A 70-mile journey at 16 miles per hour. The road to hell was snow-packed and polished hot. An enchanting melody played on the radio, and played on the radio, played on the radio, the radio. The radio was stuck on repeat, and I feared that this journey would be as well. 16 miles per hour, 37 miles per hour, 56 miles per hour, 84 miles per hour, 107 miles per hour, and the 70-mile journey now gets shorter and shorter. A finger of danger has started to tickle me. I'll be to hell soon. When I get there, I'll throw open the door, toss my discarded objects into the corner, pull the chain across the locking mechanism, and smile falsely while muttering, "Hey, baby, how was your day? I couldn't wait to come home to you."
Nice.
What I remember, the smell of her sex fiend perfume, the blade hitting the bone, my eyes snapping shut, her damp breath against my ear. She licked the lobe and whispered, "See, I told you would never see it coming." There was a stranger's voice, a man, and he said, "Just take his money and let him bleed out. Homicide Division will bitch about him tomorrow morning when they get the call before the alarm clock wakes them, and they don't even have time to choke down their breakfast." She laughed and said, "Yeah, fuck him. This is the dark side of love." Then the door slammed, and they were gone. I rolled over and lit a cigarette. My eyes were wet. I laughed, and I shook my finger at the ceiling, and that's all I remember. Did they find her? Not yet, the young cop told him. They're searching the alley south of 9th Street as we speak. I sat in the chair across the hallway, shaking my head, listening to it all, remembering the first time a woman taught me a lesson the hard way about trust. It almost drove me into a desire to start loving men. I knew I could punch a man in the face, need be. So, I talked about having 2 wives, and there's a reason why. There's this little thing. These next poems are all the Meth Mistress poems. So, Meth Mistress, poem number 1. Self-medication and isolation seem to be the only course of action to beat back my stalking demon, which purposely wears clothing short enough and sheer enough that I can see more than just the outline of her bare vagina when she passes me in the hallway. Go away, I tell her. I already have a girlfriend. She just growls and licks her lips. Yesterday, I contemplated nailing the window shut. Poem number 2. I often wonder what it would feel like to be chewed up and swallowed by a demon with a mouth as amazing as hers. Some nights, I lie on the floor, less intoxicated than other nights, with both legs under the bed, both arms stretched above my head, just hoping to know and never have to wonder again.
Nice. Very nice.
Poem number 3. There was one time in a hotel bathroom after sex that she turned the water on and stepped into the shower. I sat down on the toilet and took a shit. You would have thought we'd been married for years. Poem number 4. I still don't love you, but I like you enough to wait for the feelings to change. Meth Mistress, poem number 5. And after our fights, I would kiss her throat and whisper, fuck, 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 just wishing that my 4-letter words were as razor sharp as hers were. And if so, if they were, her pearl necklaces and infinity scarves would never fit quite the same again. Nice. Number 6. Understand that I still care about you. I just scream and act stupid so that you won't have to scream and act stupid alone. Number 7. She told me that her heart would always be mine. So I took what was mine, and I left him a heartless bitch. One that now has a reason to dress in clothes that look as if she had died last Tuesday. And finally, Meth Mistress, poem number 8. She broke me real good. My heart now mumbles obscenities like cunt underneath its breath and between its broken beats. And I let it because she was the one who once told me, your heart, it knows best.
Love it! Love it!
The more exciting side of death. She came back 2 days later with a pistol in her hand. And I figured that sure, she probably deserves at least one good shot at me. But I never opened the door to give it to her. Huh. Maybe I really am the most selfish asshole that she knows. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. From the more exciting side of death. This one's called At the Time. At the time, I was a 15-year-old boy, and she was a 15-year-old girl who said to me, if you really love me, you will do it. Love at 15 years old? Shit. I had been convinced that I was in love with her for a whole year prior to her challenge. She offered her tits to me and one hand down her pants for the first time. I would have probably murdered my own father that night or sucked the itch oil straight out of a poison oak leaf if she had asked me to. But she didn't. She simply just asked me to smile, and I did. I showed her how crooked and sad my lips sat on my face, and she loved it. She let my fingers conduct an orchestra inside of her, and I loved it. And I felt it. And at times, I still feel it. It feels just like the rain sounds at 2 a.m., passionately pattering on my window panes. And I smile. And my smile is still crooked. It's crooked and older. It's much older. 20 years older, and I miss her. Somebody please tell her so.
Absolutely gorgeous one.
These next couple are from a forthcoming chap from Spanx Apache called Soul Whore. So, little stuff coming out soon with the Madman Jan. So,
nice.
The first one. You dance drunk and slutty. Last night we all watched your beautiful chaos unravel. I kissed. I kissed your forehead and naked stomach before I climbed out of bed this morning. And I could still smell the Mad Dog 2020 in the air from your breath. You swallowed enough last night that you started to recite poetry. And I have come to the conclusion you just might be my soul whore.
Nice.
These next few I've been digging down. This year, it's been 5 years since my grandmother passed, and I really hadn't dug into that. So here, these last couple of months, I've kind of opened up the door and kind of let some of those feelings and those emotions out. The first one, the monster's teeth. The monster's teeth chew on the soul from the get-go, through the go-on, to the just gone. And an hour later, you were still just gone. And all we had done was sit around the bed, around your expired body, quietly.
Wow.
When the monster was finished with you, it had left you as a buried treasure to us all. Her life never paused through the pain of living it. Yours won't either.
Wow.
After the monster won the final bout, there's been a great deal of confusion. The songbirds now know no difference between the open mouths of felines or the grapevines as they perch for the sunrise in the vacant lot which used to be your garden of paradise and plenty.
Wow, those are gorgeous. I love
Thanks.
it, my friend.
I don't know where we're at on time. I got one more in the stack.
Yeah, you know what? You do that one more, my friend. Absolutely. Those are gorgeous.
It's a short piece, but to me it's common sense. Okay?
Okay.
It's called Untouched. Untouched bombs are beautiful. So are butterflies. But the problem is that heartless motherfuckers just have to touch them both.
Wow. I love it. I love it. You know what, man? That's awesome. What a great reading. I want you to do me a favor here. I want you to tell our listeners, our readers, our viewers, where can they find you online, my friend?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Victor Clevenger. You can find me at VictorClevenger.com. You can find me on Instagram at The Victor Clevenger. You can find the books on Amazon. There's links. You can find them at Epic Rights. You can find the Punk Chapbook series, which has the more exciting side of death included, with a ton of other great poets. It's out there, man. Just Google Victor Clevenger.
Right on. And you mentioned a new Sphinx Apache chapbook coming out?
In the works, yeah. We're in talks.
Right on. That's awesome. You know what? Thank you, my friend. This has been an excellent evening for me. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Wolf. Thank you.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching Poets Underground, Mr. Victor Clevenger, and we'll see you next time. Good night.